I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Johnny Smith.
And this is Smith and Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things live. Well now.
Listen, guys.
Look.
Here's the situation. Thanks so much for coming, everybody, in the room. We're in a large, echoey room off of Bicester Heritage.
Just off of the A.
You don't know where it is.
What the road's called.
Yeah.
Minus 20 dad points.
You should know. There's bloody great AA signs outside telling you.
Yes. I was going to say, if everyone didn't find it okay, then you shouldn't have a driving license, because there are some really big signs outside, which was a shock to us, except we did sort of know, because yesterday a couple of car journalist friends of ours were on a car launch somewhere in the Midlands, and they drove past here, and they'd already put the signs out, and I suddenly got a voicemail from one of them going, "What the fucking hell is going on? Your stupid podcast has got road signs."
Please don't steal them after this event.
No, because we want to.
Because we want at least two of them. All right?
Do you know,
I'm serious.
I told my wife about it this morning. I said, because I explained, I said, we got the call yesterday, and I checked with the little car company people who've hosted us here very kindly, and I said, they're definitely road signs. And then there was a pause, and I could see her brain working, and then she went, "Don't come home with one."
Oh.
I was like, but, and she was like, "Where would we put it?"
Definitely coming home with one.
Well, the thing is, road signs are bigger than you think, aren't they?
Oh, they're way bigger.
Because they have to be, because you're in a fast-moving car when you see them
Motorway
normally.
signs are massive.
Oh God, they're like the elephants of the road.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the little car company. Before we go any further, we should say a big thank you to them, because they have hosted this event for us and brought along their new...
The Tamiya Wild one.
Tamiya.
Oh.
Which, I don't know if you had a chance to poke around it yet, but it's quite a cool little thing. And it is little, isn't it? It's smaller in real life than it looks.
It is smaller.
In the pictures.
And for the purposes of the listeners who aren't in the room, I mean, there are people in the room listening, but they're also seeing. So we were able to borrow some scale vehicles and drive in. Richard's wearing a terrible jacket. Richard came in a DB5 Junior. I came in with a glorious, sweet little Ferrari. Uncrashed, undamaged. So yeah, thanks very much to you, little car company. Thank you very much to Bicester Heritage. Thank you very much to... I want to say thank you to the Wrigley Monkey here in the corner serving beer and other beverages. And thanks to Lisa, who is serving Smith and Sniff merch.
We're doing the full Oscar speech at the top of the show.
I have to. And just a quick thank you to Vauxhall for supplying a private ambulance for me to bring the merchandise along in. It's very kind of you. Thank you, guys.
That is genuinely the most private ambulance-y looking van that I've ever seen of the press fleet, because it's black and it's heavily blacked out to the back.
It's so blacked out inside. I pulled over to get a sandwich, and I think people were stood around expecting a body to come out of the back on one of those special tables.
Why were people standing around waiting for a body to come out of the back?
I just don't know.
Were you driven into a crematorium by mistake?
No.
To have a sandwich. I want this toasted. Have you got anything that could... Now, before we go any further, I just wanted to read out a very quick message from one of our patrons, a chap called Alex Miles. He has something that I think, for regular listeners of the podcast, is quite an earth-shattering, what he calls a fan theory.
Fan theory?
A fan theory. So, Alex says... The Discovery One owning, canal boat dwelling, Crocodile Dundee hat and leather waistcoat wearing man is the father of no name full suspension mountain bike guy.
Yes, absolutely.
And suddenly
is this in
everything makes sense.
In every single case in every town?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Because...
Checker plate disco guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the scales fell from my eyes, and I said, well, of course. The tapestry is revealed. Because...
Sorry, I'm just imagining it. I'm pausing it. It's painting so many pictures.
Well, they've got the canal boats in common, haven't they? I mean, they might be estranged because the Discovery...
Someone nicked someone else's weed back in the day. And that was not cool.
No, but no, I was imagining more that the dad is worried about the amount of marijuana and bags of cans that the lad is consuming. And why don't you get a proper job instead of mowing municipal cricket pitches? That is a proper job. What do you do? You just spend your time at ale festivals, but then he's on the sick.
He's on the sick?
He's on the sick, I think. The dad's on the sick. Something's happened to his leg. He's got a duff leg. And so, which allows him to spend more time drinking real ale and doing that weird bobtail discovery shit. What's it called? It's not trials.
Off-roading, you mean?
No, it's not. It's a specific kind of
rock
off-roading.
Crawling? What?
No, that's American.
Bog trotting?
Green lady. It's a bit green lading, but if you've gone bobtail, it's more than that. Pay and play? That's what he does in the evenings with that lady who works in the pub.
Is it really called pay and play?
I mean, you could apply that to almost anything.
Just didn't know
Bouncy
that.
castles are pay and play if you think about it. But anyway, I read that and I suddenly went, that all makes absolute sense. Even though it's a completely mythical world that we've sort of made up. What is this?
I'm going to give you a piece of paper. I want you to turn it over and tell the audience what it says.
For the purposes of the tape, Johnny has handed me a small pink notepad page.
Read it.
It says simply, inconsiderate tosser.
Yeah.
With 2 exclamation marks.
Yeah.
Is this for me?
No, that was left under my windscreen yesterday. Seriously. Seriously.
Hang on, this is evidence. I'm leaving fingerprints.
I will.
On
if anyone wants, it is genuine. It's not my writing. Although the first thing I did when I took it off the windscreen, apart from giggle, I looked at it closely and went, "That's just like my dad's writing." So I haven't had a chance to ask him.
Did you leave a mug without putting it on the dishwasher last time you went home?
Well, I mean, I was going to text Dad before this started to just say, Dad, you weren't in Norfolk yesterday, were you? And you did get parked to very closely by a base model Citroen C3 in that sort of cappuccino colour.
So this was going to be my question. What prompted this note?
Here's the scene. Small village car park, pay and display. Mm-hmm. Gravel, but someone has sprayed on those little, they're not a T, you know what they are. Those markings on the floor to denote where you're supposed to park, right? Yeah. There's one space left in the car park. It's busy. It's nearly lunchtime.
Yeah.
I've hawked around the car park a few times. There is only one space. But someone has parked beyond the white line in a Fiesta. And the other person on the other side is right on the line. It's just quite a slim space. I've got no other choice. I've got to go in. Okay. So I asked my passenger to get out.
Textbook.
Yeah, just like Terminator 2 when that chap climbs in the in the helicopter, you know, the liquid metal guy, and asks the other one, the pilot, to get out. So, and then I go in really tightly, and I have to go beyond the other cars a little bit so I can get a bit more purchase on my door to get out. And I managed to get out, but it's tight.
Yeah.
But it's not my fault, is it? And I actually took a photo to prove that, which I can send to the local council if they want. And I've got evidence. And there, I knew it was going to be touch and go weather.
Wait a second.
What?
You took a photo.
Yeah.
You've got a picture of this person's car.
Well, yeah.
Don't show it to people because...
I'll share it with you afterwards, audience. I've got it. I've got the registration numbers and everything.
So...
Shall I track them down?
Immediately leads me to ask, what was the car?
The one that was straddling the line, badly parked, was a red Fiesta. The other one I actually can't remember.
But wait a second. Inconsiderate tosser note person
is not going to be in the car that straddled the line. No,
because they're a considerate tosser by implication. Otherwise, that would be hypocritical.
You're absolutely right.
Now,
this is what I thought. Here we go.
This is an index card. This is not a notepad torn off.
I'm just showing Richard the picture. That's a Qashqai.
It is a Qashqai.
It finished in what? Now, how do you feel about the way in which the parking has been done?
I mean, it's all sloppy. But the Qashqai can be a peevish car.
Well, look at the angle. Look at the angle of the turn-in. So I had very few options here.
But that's an index card, isn't it? It's not torn out of a notebook. That is a self-contained. Although,
yeah,
it's been cut out. Look, it's not even. Sorry. I've gone a bit Poirot on this, but I'm intrigued.
So somebody's cut it out of a jotter? What are you saying?
Pink lined paper.
Okay. He's wearing the jacket, ladies and gents. Come on. Shit detective jacket, ahoy. What I can also say, the same day, some other things happened. Okay.
Are you standing too close to someone in a fish and chip shop and they just tuck this in your top pocket?
I've had to remind myself. Do you remember on the way back from Goodwood, I might have left you a voicemail about I saw a Fiat fullback pickup truck.
Oh, yes.
Anybody else ever seen a Fiat fullback pickup truck? No, you're lying. You're lying. Unless you've got one, in which case you're not. They're very rare. Well, I saw one on a German number plate towing a caravan on the way back from Goodwood. Enough to message you and go, just seen a Fiat fullback.
I don't think you told me it was on a German number plate.
Oh, well, it was.
Well, I don't
So there.
then.
So I see a fullback pickup truck. I think this is amazing. 24 hours later, I see another Fiat fullback pickup truck near the incident which involved the car, inconsiderate tosser cart. And I actually take a selfie with it to prove that I wasn't lying. Yeah. I'm the kind of guy you want to hang out with. I took a selfie with it in the car park like that. And then, after the inconsiderate tosser thing,
Yes.
I was driving home, I saw another, different colour,
No.
different reg.
Bullshit.
No, well, this is the thing.
That's simply not possible.
Well,
I mean, we established before we started recording that the man who currently drives Britain's only current-shaped Toyota Supra is in the room. There simply isn't another.
yeah.
I would say there are two full... No, hang on. Oh, wait. No, I beg your pardon.
What?
You've seen Britain's two fullbacks,
Yes, I have.
and then you've seen one of Germany's three fullbacks.
What
It
do you
all
thi-
adds up.
Do you think they sold one more in Germany than here?
Well, it's a bigger country.
Statistically probable, yes.
I'm just working the odds here, but yeah, I think that's how it would go down. I was almost going to stop just to take a picture because I thought we might talk about it, about those two very sad Fiat Doblos we saw on the way to wherever we were staying in Southsea in near Goodwood.
It was the one-horse town where we were at the
but
Airbnb.
we were just driving down a main-ish road, and there's just two Fiat Doblos.
Very, very badly kept Fiat Doblos.
Well, they're just a badly kept car. They just become badly kept looking.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it.
No.
You could have it fully detailed by Richard Tipper, and it would still look sad. It's got a sad face.
Has it got a sad face?
Do you know what I'm talking about? Those vans from sort of 10 more years ago.
Doblo almost sounds sad.
Doblo.
Doblo.
Oh, Doblo. It's an Eeyore-ish car, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
How are things, Doblo? Well, I've got a bit of rust on my sills. My headlights have gone milky.
Yeah.
Probably
You know,
going to be
that
scrapped
dog,
soon.
that neighbour's dog's pissed on me again.
I think it was the Fiat Doblo that we got sent at the Top Gear office. We used to get sent press packs for new cars. And it would have predated Google Translate, or perhaps Google Translate just wasn't as good as it is now. And the Doblo press pack had very clearly been translated literally from Italian. And that didn't quite work.
Go ahead.
And clearly nobody at Fiat UK had been bothered to reread it. And the crowning line was the one where it said, the side doors, which are always sliding. Always sliding.
Always.
Sounds inconvenient. Someone's going to fall out. That's dangerous. But yeah, they hadn't corrected it. I don't even know what they meant. Like, what would that be in Italian that you'd go, that makes sense, perfect sense in Italian, but the side doors, which are always sliding.
I told you about that time that my daughter was on a summer camp doing bushcraft skills. And it was at a local, stately home gardens. This guy had a Citroen Berlingo van. Did I tell you about it? People carry, I've actually forgotten the name of it.
The multispass.
The door fell off.
What?
Did I tell this story? Yeah, I have told the story. Okay.
Cross that one out.
It's all right. Wait a minute.
It's good that we've got fact checkers on board here.
Anyway,
can I?
Anyway, so what I was saying. So the same day that the inconsiderate tosser
Oh, yes.
placard was put.
Yes.
And I saw 3 fullbacks. No,
Yes.
2, because the other
Yes.
one was the other day.
Yeah.
I went on the world's longest 10.25-inch gauge railway.
You're free to leave at any time, by the way. Probably should have said that at the top.
I'm just going to do this for the purposes of the audience. Yeah,
For the
exactly.
tape, Johnny's just done a mic drop.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I videoed the guy manoeuvring it up because it was steam. I did a video of the guy manoeuvring it up while we were waiting to board, and the guy got out the train. I mean, it's a very small train, but he got out of it, and he was covered in soot and coal. And I went over to take a couple of pictures of the close-ups, and he went, "I know who you are." And he said it in such a way.
Inconsiderate tosser who parked too close to my cash
I have to say, I was bloody terrified just for a few seconds because I thought he was going to follow in with, "I don't like what you do." But it was amazing. He paused, and then he went, "Go on, sit on the footplate." Like that. You know, like when you're a kid and you go to a sports car show and someone lets you sit on the threshold of a supercar with its scissor door open, and you're like that. And I went, "Can I?" And he went, "Yeah." But then he paused again and he went, "But you've got to wear the hat." And it was at that point I was in too deep. I'm not going to turn around and go, "Piss off, man. I just want a picture of the train. I don't want the hat on."
Yeah, it's got your head grease on it, you
Not
weirdo.
some kind of wrong un. But sure enough, I did. I went, "All right."
If that's the price of entry,
All right.
I'll wear the hat. And you've got to wear these trousers.
Yeah. And the
my shoes.
dungarees. Yeah.
And my jacket.
Yeah.
Now walk up and down a bit. A bit more.
Yeah.
All right, you can sit in the train.
So I put that. I have got, for the purposes of patrons and things, I have got a photo of myself in the train with the hat on. It's a very small train. I'm hunched over like this. And I get the photo, and we chat for a while about steam and old school loco performance.
Yeah.
And to the point where he's been waxing lyrical for so long about this narrow gauge railway that he's supposed to have manoeuvred the loco round to the other end and hooked it up, and we were supposed to go. Everyone else is starting to get a bit pissed off.
What, there's people on the train?
Yeah.
Is that where the note really came from?
What, from him or someone?
No, from one of the passengers. You inconsiderate tosser. Here, have that.
Yeah, I should have done.
I write a load of them before the day starts, and then I just give them out to people during the day because I'm peevish because I've got a cash guy.
Well, actually, this was going to be a question for the audience. Has anybody ever either written or had written a note like this? Have you ever been given such a note? I've seen a few hands
Oh,
up.
hello.
Yeah, we've got, 6 or 7
Do I need to go out with the mic for this?
Yeah. Any? Is that
do.
all right? Any?
Hello. It's Lewis. We know you, Lewis. Sorry, can I just reach through there?
This did happen. I'm not just doing it for the chance with the microphone, I promise.
Are you going to beatbox now?
No, I had "Don't Undertake You."
Oh.
How did they get that on your car?
They followed me into a services
Oh.
and waited for me to leave so that they could write the note on the back of an envelope and put it on the windscreen, so that when I came back from getting my coffee, I had an envelope on my window.
Did
that
you
said,
turn the note over and write your own response?
Yeah.
I didn't know which card to
Of
put
course
it
you didn't
on.
know. No, you didn't know.
I didn't have the luxury of taking a photo of the person that was angry at me.
You've always got to take pictures of evidence. Always. That's
Well,
incredible.
That was a bit more strident than I
Yeah,
expected.
well, I was going to say. Funny enough, I was
Anyone
about
been
to
called
say.
a for daring to scratch someone's paint? Oh, hello. Go on then.
X6 in a motorbike bay. So
Yes.
2 mates and I blocked him in. He
With?
wasn't 2 motorbikes.
Okay.
He wasn't happy.
Did you heavily lock the motorbikes?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
And we got called.
Were there notes or just
No, he was jumping up and down upset.
did
Were
you
there-
use that word that Lewis just
Yes, I was just about to say.
I thought he might have done.
Weirdly, before you started talking, I thought, let's go easy on the F's and the C's.
Yeah.
Shall we? I was a bit late with that, wasn't I?
Let's not clown and harass.
Yeah, let's just
Anyone else had a note left or left a note? Gosh, there's a lot of hands going.
Yeah,
up.
but it's worth it, Richard. And by the way,
Well-
don't get too close to the jacket, everybody.
No.
I swear it's got asbestosis in it.
Yeah, had a note left. So I got a Z3 recently, and the alarm likes
Okay,
to
that's
go
all
off
the story. That's all we need
randomly.
to know.
And someone left me a note to say kindly that it was fucking disturbing their sleep. And if it continued, my car would be towed by the police.
Wow.
Unless they were a police officer, I'm not sure they have the law on their side.
I know, I was surprised as well.
Good.
Towed by the police.
Very sweary, the notes of Britain, aren't
Well, anyone else got a note to add
they?
to
Anyone
this?
else?
There's a
hands
couple
going
over
up
here.
Left, right, and centre.
If only we had
Here
two
we
Richards.
go. Uh-oh.
I mean, I've got a mic.
We've got picture evidence here.
I'm just not moving.
It's not my proudest moment, but this was actually today. I did this note. I wrote the note. That was the parking.
It's a Mazda 3. It's parked entirely on the pavement.
Yep, and that was my note.
Well done for parking like that word that Lewis said earlier on.
Not my proudest moment.
But I like the congratulatory nature of that. It's good. Well done. Well done. Deep sarcasm. Should we do one more, Johnny? One
Yeah.
more. Who?
There's a couple over here. There's a couple over here.
Oh, do you know what? I want to know if anyone has had a note left that didn't involve quite a harsh swear word. Ooh.
Oh.
Now there's more hands going up. Go on, you, sir.
Yeah, I was at a car show and like a little kid was going around with one of those like cameras and left like a little note saying "Love your car," a little photo of my car.
Yes.
It was just like putting like the under the windshield wiper. It was just like a little photo of my car with like a little note on the back.
And that's what he was doing?
Yeah, just go around.
Oh, you see, that's nice.
That's lovely. Isn't that lovely?
I mean, he's wasting his time. You own the car. You know what it looks like, but it's sweet all the same. Anybody else had a polite note?
Are you
left?
sure it didn't say, I love your car, comma, you? Sweet, sweet guy.
I once had a bottle of wine left on my car because we
What?
entered a competition that we didn't know we entered, and my car won.
Best parking? Worst
I'll
parking?
go with best parking. No, it was definitely not best parking.
Most
It was,
audacious undertaking manoeuvre.
I don't know what it was. It was, yeah.
They left you a bottle of wine?
Yeah, they were. Well, we were walking down a hill. It was at Chesley, and this guy was trying the handles of my car, and I was like, "What's this guy doing?" And he just put a bottle of wine on my car doesn't lock. Put a bottle of wine on the seat and walked off.
You've just told everybody your car doesn't lock.
And the registration
This concerns me.
is... Okay, no. Right, well, that's... I didn't expect...
Well, look,
such.
hold the others because we'll come back to them.
We'll come back to
Because there's a rich mine of, well, F's and C's by the sounds of it, but maybe some other stuff as well. I want to talk about, I've written this down, cars with stickers of other cars on the back. Because I saw this. I saw
this.
this.
He's gone specific early, but that's okay. We're going to run with
I've
it.
got to get it out of my system. On the way back from Goodwood, same as the fullback German couple camping, I saw a Jaguar X type estate. Fine, nothing wrong with that at all. With a sticker on the back, quite a large detailed oval sticker, which had a Messerschmitt bubble car written on it, with a scene of a Messerschmitt bubble car driving through a hillside.
What? How big was this sticker?
Quite large. I mean, I could read it on the motorway. 10 inches square? I don't know. So it begs the question, who are the people that buy a sticker of another car and put it on the back of the other car?
People who own both of those cars?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's another mystery wrapped up in
But
record time.
You remember those stickers in the 80s? My other car's a Porsche.
Oh, yeah.
My other car's a Rolls Royce. Blah, blah, blah.
My other car's a Messerschmitt bubble car.
It could be. So I'm thinking, how far would you take this juxtaposition? How far would you take it? Like, I'm thinking, Gordon Murray.
But he's got loads of cars.
But on the back of his T50,
Yeah.
he could have a sticker saying, I love my smart coupe roadster.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that would be quite charming, wouldn't it?
But no, because the sticker would add weight.
Oh, yes. Hang on, what about those very thin foils? You know, the ones like football album stickers, Panini
stickers.
Panini stickers. Remember the shield of the football club was always a very thin foil?
Yes.
Would it be a thin foil?
Yes. Okay.
Does anybody actually have a sticker of depicting another car on the back of their car? Not one person. Well, that's shit.
There's a Smith and Sniff record. We've become too niche in our line of questioning.
No.
I was going to read out a listener's message just because it tickled me, not literally. This is from Ian Muller. I've checked. He's happy, as far as I can tell, for his name to be read out.
Oh, you read that?
Ian, if you're not, it's too late. Ian says, Dear Smith and Sniff, before I start, there's a key definition that needs to be stated here, and it is the word Bars. Bars is a compound word of balls and arse, the space between the genitals and the anus. You can see where the tone of this tale is going.
That's not what that's called.
Well, I thought it was the blas.
It's the gooch or the dirty inch. And you all know it, which is why you're laughing. Proceed.
Ian says, the backstory is the sale of a family, generally sweet car, a 10-plate VW T5 Caravelle bi-turbo 7-speed DSG. Fucking hell, Volkswagen. Some would say the spoke king of all vans. One annoyance about this T5 is the brake assistant was ridiculously over-egged. You only had to think about brake application, it would instantly endo. Lovely BMX reference.
That is a great BMX reference.
Anyway, so Ian was selling this car. He said, I was contacted by a keen local buyer and we set up the meet. He was a polite man in his early 60s, dressed for the summer in somewhat street combat shorts.
Did you say dressed for the summer?
Dressed for the summer. It doesn't say whether it was the summer, but he was dressed for the summer.
There's always a permanent summer guy.
Yes.
In every town. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Shorts all year round spec.
Yeah.
Crocs possibly. Even when it's bloody cold. Bitterly cold. You could snap the toes and he's still just crocking around.
They're broken thermostat people, I think. Because they can't quite. They're actually just guessing.
Yeah.
They're just assimilating around what's going on around them, but they can't quite get it right.
Yeah.
Got my shorts on, got my flip-flops on.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, there's someone in a fleece outside. I better put one of those on just in case. Yeah. Anyway, Ian said he was selling this car. He was contacted by a keen local buyer, set up the meet. Polite man in his early 60s, wearing shorts. We were about to embark on the test drive when I realised it might rain, so I grabbed my umbrella along with my water bottle and jumped into the passenger seat. Are you good with autos? I asked. No reply from the gent, which I took as a yes. More fool me. Before I'd had a chance to buckle up, he'd fired up the T5, put it in drive, shot off down the road. The revs rose in first at the change-up point. The gent grabbed the shifter in an attempt for second, thrust his left foot for the non-existent clutch, and hit the wider than normal brake pedal. As you can imagine, the clutch level of force had a somewhat catastrophic effect on our level of forward motion. In fact, I'm convinced the back wheels came off the ground. I had not had time to fasten my seatbelt.
Oh, gosh.
And the fate that befell me was unfortunate and, in retrospect, hilarious. As I slid forward in the seat, the squirty water bottle sandwiched between my legs impacted with the end of the umbrella now lodged in the footwell, and I was pivoted into an upright near standing position with the bottle making direct contact with my bars.
Bars?
This contained a high degree of force instigated by the umbrella. Fortunately, it was a hot day, and I was no doubt suffering Johnny-style scrotal elongation, which miraculously migrated my plums away from the danger zone. However, I was now left standing effectively on 3 legs, exhaling in pain with what seemed like forever, while my squirty water bottle pissed all over the dash of my T5. Ian says, I must have looked like an extreme BDSM live art piece. I slumped back into the seat like a dead man and began the extreme inhale, which is inevitable after a high-impact bass incident. The sound that came out of me was like a donkey accidentally backing up onto the most brutal of machines at a steam rally. Painting pictures with words. The gent apologised and asked if I was okay, to which I could only make the sound of a donkey in distress. And then he admitted he'd never driven an auto before.
The number of people who've never driven autos is quite surprising, I think.
We set off again, still endoing and pogoing, until it got to the point where I had to hold his naked left calf while repeatedly saying, "You don't need this! You don't need this!" During this, I had my phone in my back pocket, and after a couple of miles of this, my arse, brackets not my barse, which was in a state of ruin, managed to call up my Amazon Music app and play a random music track. It was Careless Whisper. What a day, Ian says. P.S. He bought the car for the asking price and hilariously pogo-endoed off the end of the road with a big thumbs up out of the window.
I can't bet to that.
Thank you,
Let's
Ian,
just end
for
that here. Goodness me.
Really painting pictures with words. But yes, you're
Bass.
right. Bass. And also, you're right, a lot of people have never driven an auto.
Anyone never driven an auto?
Ooh.
There's more than
There
one.
are actually people. 1,
2, 3. That's at least 5 people. Are you tempted?
See what all the fuss is about.
Give it a cheeky go. No?
No.
Yeah, so I've never driven an auto. Between me and my dad, we've got 8 cars, all of them are manual. I really wanted to run a 25 auto, and I called the seller. I'm not going to check on my phone now, but it would have been about 15 different times, and he's never picked up. So to my dismay, I still haven't driven one. But as you can tell, I like old French crap anyway, so the auto would probably explode.
So you've tried to buy the car, but they won't let you.
Maybe they really like it.
Has anybody else tried to buy a car before and the person's not really put much effort into selling it?
Right.
I'm just sending you out.
Give me 20 minutes. I'm going up the back here.
Supposed to do the Q&A like the next hour, but it doesn't matter.
It's like fucking Challenge Annika out here. Here we go. Hello, sir.
So for years I've been stalking this, it's a Series 3 white E-Type. Turn my old man owned it in the 70s.
Oh.
Some randomer bought it off him and restored it, desperate to buy it back. They don't ever get in contact. I've seen it at car shows, left the note on the window. Do they fucking bother getting in touch? No. It's other people found it, other people sent them messages, they just refuse to get in contact. And I'm like, I will buy this car. It's been in the family, I've still got all the old service books for it.
You've got all the old service books?
Yeah, I've got the invoice when he bought it off Jimmy Tarbuck.
What? Right, everyone else can leave. We're going to chat to this guy for the rest of the night.
And they just won't get in touch.
That's okay.
I will remortgage my house to buy it, but...
Wow, you're really raising the stakes here, aren't you? Why don't you put that on the note? I will remortgage the house to buy this car. Has anybody else...
There's some beef there.
While I'm back here, tried unsuccessfully to buy a car? No. Good. I can go back over there.
I've got, just in case there aren't any more people, I've got a really important point to make, and I noticed this as I was driving back from Norfolk. It's not all going to be Norfolk-based, this chat, I promise. Just a few observations here and there. Some people have decorative wagon wheels propped up outside their houses in their front lawn, but also old farm implements that have been heavily gloss painted.
Oh, yes.
Have you noticed this? At what point is that okay and not scrap? But yeah, if you had, I don't know, let's say an old Fiesta in your front garden, that's classed
Well, yeah,
as
but it
scrap.
wouldn't be if you heavily painted your Fiesta and put some geraniums on top of it.
Is that
then
okay?
You've got a planter. If you filled a Fiesta with soil,
is that okay? You have boats full of soil.
Yeah.
That's okay, isn't it? Usually in a landlocked town, I find.
Well, that's why they don't need the boat for boat shit.
No, it's true. Because the residual values are rubbish.
Ever since we moved to Leamington, we don't really need the boat, so we might as well fill it with soil.
Let's fill it with soil.
Yeah. So we don't live in Brighton anymore. We'd be needing this for something else other
But
than
you
flowers.
must know someone who has a decorative wagon wheel or something like that in their front garden.
I do not.
I am not the only person that's observed this.
I know someone who once hit a wagon wheel with a golf club, but that was the biscuit, not the item off an actual wagon. My friend Simon, when I was at school, his grandma used to come over and just give them loads of biscuits they didn't really like.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Did she not like them?
I don't know. She used to come over with massive boxes of biscuits. And she used to give them wagon wheels, and no one in the family liked wagon wheels, so it's just a massive stash of wagon wheels hidden in a cupboard so as not to offend her. So one day, we got Simon's dad's golf clubs when his parents were out, and we just stuck some wagon wheels into the garden and absolutely walloped them over the back fence.
Really?
Yeah, they break up quite satisfyingly, despite the marshmallowy bit. Just sharing that. Thought it was useful information.
No, I like that.
I was going to go back to some other things I wanted
You
to
haven't
talk
got
to you
another
about.
listener's letter, have you?
I do, actually, since you ask.
Not to do with Barses.
Do Do you want a lavatorial one or one about airport clothes?
Don't ask me, ask the audience.
All right.
Lavatorial or...
Oh, go on then.
I must say, I love the word lavatorial. It's a wonderful... It's like advertorial. But not as information-laden.
So, yeah.
Yes.
I suppose. Publishing joke there for you. This is from Joss Duggan, and it relates back to... Were we talking about this last week when you saw that man hands-free weeing at Goodwood?
Oh, yeah. I'm still in a little bit of shock about that.
Well, feast your ears on this. Joss says, your brief mention of hands-free peeing, takes me back to the days of my apprenticeship, 10 years ago when I was a clueless, spotty teenager. The company I'd started working for had a number of factories along the same stretch of road and a standalone training building within which we apprentices would spend our first year. It housed a small workshop downstairs and offices of some proper employees upstairs. One of those employees was a stylish older chap with a devilish silver goatee who could be spotted striding throughout the offices, barking orders at others, and generally giving us youngsters the impression he was somewhat important. He became known as Important Man.
Did it?
With capital letters.
Important Man.
The building only had one set of gents' toilets shared by us teens and the adults from the office upstairs. It wasn't particularly large, with 3 urinals in a row beside the door and 2 cubicles at the end.
Details.
Good details. These are important details.
Oh, right, okay.
About 2 weeks into my tenure, I popped into the gents to blow my nose. Schnoz wiped, I stepped out of the cubicle and washed my hands. Just as the gents' toilet door was near on kicked off its hinges, the Silver Fox had arrived. Important Man marched to the middle urinal. Immediately, that's bad etiquette.
That's urinal hogging.
It really is.
Isn't it? Trough hogging.
It's like sort of weird kind of battleships where you've gone, now you can't use either without it being a bit more awkward than it could be. But anyway.
Pissy battleships.
So, 2 more from them later. Important Man marched to the middle urinal, stood about a foot away, flopped open his trousers and stood bolt upright looking up at the ceiling with his hands on his hips, feet spread wide apart and knees locked. Johnny will now replicate this stance. That's good. That's exactly the way Joss is describing it.
Deep exhale as well? I'm presuming deep exhale.
Yeah, I'm going to imagine that was the case.
Yeah.
Joss says, I'd never seen such a stance at a urinal before. He was managing to take up all 3 at once while simultaneously blocking the door and thus my escape.
What?
An act of sheer domination. I was now trapped and had little choice but to stand and wait with nothing but the trickling sound of pee hitting the bowl to break the silence. I shuffled back to the sink to wash my hands again, figuring it might highlight my presence to Important Man in case he hadn't noticed he wasn't alone. He couldn't give less of a shit, instead shifting his weight onto his left leg and placing his hand on the door in an outstretched lean. This guy's a psycho.
Yeah.
Now, this is my favourite part of this message.
Okay.
Joss, this bit made me laugh so much. Still streaming wirelessly, he thrust his right hands. Streaming wirelessly. It's too good.
How long is this was, by the way?
Well, it's longer than this message, I think.
Yeah.
He thrust his right hand into his back pocket, pulled out his phone, flicked through his contacts, and held it to his ear before exclaiming, Greg, I hope I haven't caught you at a bad time. His understanding of which must surely have been flawed, given that he was standing with his knob out in front of a 16-year-old. Now, not only was I trapped, I was stuck with dripping wet hands next to the dryer, which I couldn't use because Important Man was making an important call 4 feet away, and I was reluctant to introduce more jeopardy into the situation. After what seemed like an eternity, Important Man turned on a sixpence, trousers flailing, but thankfully Todger tucked away, and charged out of the box just as quickly as he arrived, phone wedged between head and shoulders as he flung the door open and stuffed his shirt into his trousers. Important Man doesn't have time to wash his hands, nor, I guess, the necessity, since he is clearly well practiced in the art of radio-controlled relief.
Oh my gosh. What an amazing story.
Could this be the same man you saw at Goodwood?
I wonder what Important Man drives. What do we think?
Ooh. Well, this was from a few years ago.
Do you think it's something analogue? or something very easy to drive whilst doing other things that are more important.
Honda Accord Coupe, and he's always got the volume on the stereo up too loud.
Yes.
Listening to classic rock.
Yes.
Loves the Straits.
Yes.
Too loud. You know, those people who pulls into a car park and you can hear the music, not the car.
Oh yeah, never knocks the sound down.
Yeah. Doesn't. And then gets back in. It's an old school car, so the volume stays where you left it.
Yep.
And he's not fussed.
No shit.
We had a message, I forgot to write it down. We had a message from someone else who said that they frequently do hands-free, or as we'll now call it, streaming wireless
streaming.
They regularly do it, but they have to stand at 2 o'clock rather than 12 o'clock because, and I'm quoting now, their tracking is out. I can't remember who that was. If that was someone who's listening, I apologise I didn't write your name down, but yeah, I quite like that as well.
Just had no idea this podcast would ever become a thing, and also that we would ever discuss this sort of thing.
I do feel sometimes that we head
Or
straight
also
into
in
the
front of an
lavatory and
audience.
never leave again. But anyway, that's by the by. I've got something else I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, far away.
Well, I've got a few things actually.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at what I've written down. Saturday kit car.
Saturday kit car.
Yeah, it's like Saturday Kitchen, but you have to assemble a Dutton Phaeton. While what's his face is rabbiting on.
Oh no, not that guy.
Tim Love Honey. Well, there's lots of no's from the front row.
I'd rather Dremel the end of my ding-a-ling than. No offence, Tim. Obviously.
What I was going to also talk to you about is I've been playing.
I had to work with him once.
Do you know the game I Have Never? Sort of party game.
Yes.
You sit around and someone goes, I have never. Like, I don't know.
I've never weed with no hands.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have either.
No.
I've never pushed a hamster up my bum. And if you're... No, I'm not going to say that because it's actionable. If you're a Hollywood actor of legend, you have to stand up because you have.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes,
That's
I
how the
understand.
game works.
Yes.
But I was playing it with cars. Well, not cars as such, but I suddenly realised there's lots of I have nevers. I'm not going to make you stand up, by the way, don't worry. But or am I? I don't know. But I
think the jacket's gone to his head. It feels like the jacket's
but not
given
my
him some
arms, because there's no sleeves. No, I just realised I've never been to the Nürburgring.
Haven't you?
No. Have you?
Yeah, I've driven there.
Who's been to the Nürburgring?
Most of the people in the room.
No, actually, no, not most of the people
Okay,
in the room.
maybe half of the people in the room.
I've never driven a Caterham.
Haven't you?
Stop saying haven't you? You make me feel stupid.
Bloody hell.
I tried to once, couldn't fit.
Couldn't you?
Who's driven a Caterham? Oh, actually more
Half
than
of the people in the room.
Who's driven a Caterham at the Nürburgring? Yes. No. Oh.
Brave.
Yes, there's
Brave.
a man at the back who has.
2 weeks ago, you win. Did you drive it no-handed whilst urinating? Oh, yes. It's the certain corner that we don't talk about that no one remembers the name of.
You didn't do your belts up properly.
Oh, awful. Ooh. Awful. Yeah.
But you must have...
I've driven the ring once.
Okay.
No, twice.
Okay. Who laughed?
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, who did laugh, actually?
Really?
Bloody...
It's supposed to be a fucking safe space for talking about the ring.
I drove the ring once. I don't mind telling you.
You drove the ring once?
And
only once. He didn't like it.
It was
said it
on-
hurt.
I'll be honest, I didn't like it. Way too many corners to try and remember.
Oh, God.
And I can't remember Silverstone, let alone pissing Nürburgring.
We were talking about this when we were doing that bloody driving game at Goodwood last week.
I'm terrible at remembering.
This is not an I had never, but it's a bit of a confession. I fucking hate track driving because I can never remember where I'm supposed to go.
No.
And then when I do remember where I'm supposed to go, I kind of go, well, I've been here before.
Yeah, this is true. I wish there were neon signs.
That would help.
That flashed up a long way away to remind me of where braking and turning needs to take place.
Well, they do have marker boards.
Yeah, but they're too small for me. I'd like them to be a little larger, a little more obvious.
So
It's like driving around Peterborough, really. The roads all look the same, and they're all really quite boring.
You'd like the Peterborough ring?
I'd like the Peterborough ring roads to be colour-coded.
Yeah, I've driven the ring. The Peterborough Ring Road, you mean? Yeah.
It's a very boring pair of roads.
But is there anything that I would assume that you have done that's car-related that actually you haven't that would make me go, really?
That I've done?
Yeah.
You've been around a bit, Rich. I don't know.
But as we've established, I was just thinking about stuff that you kind of go, oh, all car people have done that, particularly people who work in our world.
I don't know if I have.
Have you ever? I can't think of anything.
No, I mean...
You've done it all.
I've done a reasonable amount. I mean, I've very nearly crashed at the ring. Very, very nearly.
I've done it. Damn you.
Everyone that's been to the ring's nearly crashed, haven't they? All the people that put their hands up and said they've been to the ring, who's nearly crashed there? It's the same. It's the same amount of people.
It's the same number of people.
Same amount of people.
The Venn diagram is just a circle.
Yeah.
Yes. Who's been to the Nürburgring? Who's almost shit their pants in Germany?
Oh, well, there was that time in Germany involving a teaspoon.
No.
Okay.
I have never does not extend to you.
Okay. Because you probably would say really to that. No, actually, wouldn't you be silent for a while? Yeah.
Do you remember that time you told me that story about how you enacted revenge on a former landlord?
Yeah, that was.
I just sat really quietly for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that wasn't on a podcast, was it?
No, I don't think you can tell that story.
No,
on a
I couldn't tell that story.
It's
there.
It was in a hotel bar in Manchester, wasn't it?
It was in a hotel bar.
I just stared into space for about 5 minutes.
Yes, I was going through a low point. Don't always give my deposit back if I rent a house from you, if that's okay. Anyway, I've written down here Rickman Ranger, and I can't. There's no reference to it at all.
We saw a Rickman Ranger.
Where? Because I
near Goodwood, except I didn't see it because I was driving.
Is that what it was?
You shouted, "There's a Rickman Ranger," and I almost crashed trying to look at it, but it was too late.
And it made me. But we started to talk about it.
Do people know what a Rickman Ranger is? Yes. So imagine like a dog shit Suzuki Jimny. It's sort of that, but one of those kind of kit cars where you get in, it smells a bit weird, and there's lots of wires hanging under the dash. Cortina based, yes, I believe so. We were trying to work this out, weren't we?
Yes, that well-known 4x4 that goes everywhere. Yeah. See, that's the good starting point of all excellent kit cars. Going to build this all-terrain vehicle. Going to build this all-terrain vehicle on a 70s rear-wheel drive family car.
Very much going to be a rival to the Ferrari Daytona. What's it based on? Cortina, mate.
Yeah. Perfect.
It's going to be an off-roader. What's it based on? Cortina.
Yeah.
There's nothing the Cortina can't do, except
go off-road really well.
Off-road.
Yeah. Actually, they can.
But the Rickman Ranger looks a bit like a Jimny, sort of old Jimny, doesn't it? Or an SJ. It looks like an SJ.
And I think it's glass fibre.
Oh, it's certainly glass fibre. What would you think it was, like carbon fibre? Here at Rickman, we only use the finest organic carbon fibre. Sorry, no, not carbon fibre. I meant canoe material.
But when we were talking about the lesser known, because we were convinced the Rickman Ranger, if it turned up at Goodwood Festival of Speed, it would be the rarest car there.
Yes.
For all the worst reasons, probably.
Well, because it would have the most wires hanging down below the dash.
Under the dash.
The most crazed paint finish.
But you instantly went into the type of person that probably owns that Rickman Ranger that I saw parked up. And it was really funny, but I can't remember exactly what you said.
Well, anyway, if you were there at the time, you'd have loved it. Because I can't remember what I said either.
Can't you?
No. I don't remember. We were very tired.
You were exceptionally tired.
I just remember thinking about the wires hanging down from the dash and how it's sort of...
And you get in and snag them every time.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's another one. It's only the back indicators. Be fine.
It's got a very collapsed driver's seat out of a Fiesta.
Yes.
And it's always damp. It feels damp to the touch.
And it's owned by somebody who has made the conscious decision that would be a good solution, a motoring solution to what they need it to do, which is unlikely. I'm going to say it's unlikely.
Well, it's a solution to getting out of things you don't want to do. I'd love to be there, but I'm afraid, I'm in the Ranger, and the sparks coming out from underneath the dash again. Lisa's bringing us a pair of pints.
Paul. Paul at the back. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul at the back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's very kind of you.
Once again, for the tape, we're being brought more beer, which is lovely.
I've just realised, did Ford sue Rickman over the Ranger name?
No, but they did sue Dutton over the Sierra name. It was the most Ford behaved like that word that we heard earlier on from Lewis.
Yes.
Because Dutton were already using the Sierra name. And Ford went, we'd like to use it for our new car. And Dutton went, you can't, it's ours. And they went, well, we're just going to take legal action against you.
What?
They bullied them. And I think they I can't remember if they win. I mean, obviously they did call the car the Sierra, but I think Dutton got to carry on using it as well. Because I don't think anyone was going to confuse a futuristically aerodynamic family car with some small sports car that smelled like a canoe and had lots of wires hanging down below the dash. Smelt like dog permanently.
I can't remember what the Dutton Sierra is supposed to do.
That was a bit of a 4x4, I think, wasn't it? Does anyone remember? Dutton Sierra, was that the one that was a bit of a 4x4-y sort of looking thing?
Was it really Cortina based?
Of course it was. Everything was Cortina based.
Hang on a minute. Is there a kit car of the 70s or 80s that wasn't based on a Cortina?
No.
The end.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know those Lamborghini Countach replicas?
Yes.
Cortina based.
Cortina.
Yeah. They're front wheel drive. No, they weren't. Cortinas weren't front wheel drive. Yeah, because they turned a Cortina round. Make it mid-engined, but that means it's front wheel drive. And 1 speed, but with a 4-speed reverse. You're right there. God, I wish I could think of something funny to say now, just to. Well, you were saying your sinuses were blocked, and now you're sluicing them out with wine.
Oh my word!
Using some French sinus.
I was just thinking someone turning up at like Bicester Heritage in a fairly unconvincing Countach that's front-wheel drive and four.
Well, also, given the shortness of the front overhang, almost the first thing you see is the diff. The diff arrives, and then a sort of hand-drawn Countach after it.
We wouldn't be nasty if Bicester Heritage would welcome them in, but they'd notice it was front-wheel drive, and to prove it, they'd wave them onto the really wet grass car park. When there's loads of hard standing available. No, go over there and park it over there somewhere.
Is that how they smoke out?
It'd be scrabbling.
In Cortina-based Countach.
But leaving the Cars and Coffee event would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I just realised, though, of course, that the gear lever sits on top of the gearbox in a Cortina, so actually driving it along, you have to reach behind you to change gear. But wait, it's a 1-speed, so you don't have to change gear.
Stop it.
Unless you want to reverse at speed.
Well, you leave Cars and Coffee in reverse. And just to confuse the shit out of everyone, you shift into reverse 1 to reverse 2 to reverse 3, and that shows massive commitment.
Yeah,
massive. All the Mustang guys are going, fucking hell, can't compete with that.
Can't compete with that.
He's out of sight, and he hasn't crashed. and we're all like, I don't think we'll leave today. We'll get a B&B. We'll stay over.
You're going backwards, as we know. Anyone who's ever reversed at high speed,
yes,
the risk of getting a tank slapper on.
That's something I've done. I'm sure you've done it. When we were filming on lots of massive airfields for Fifth Gear, there'd be a few times, I don't know, just after lunch, should we say, when Tiff's still finishing his ham, egg and chips because he will not eat vegetables. And I think, I'll just take one of the cars out and we'll just have a quick look. And I thought, what's the VMAX of reverse of some of these cars? And I took out, I think it was something like a Nissan Almera or Primera, something like that, and just went full throttle. And
I'm sorry. Lisa's approaching again with another pair of pints.
We're not on a stag do. We're trying to do an entertainment show. What?
Jim's mate.
Jim's mate.
Jim's mate. Is Jim's mate just Paul?
Jim's mate. Thank you.
Paul's trying to drown us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think that's cider.
What is it?
I think that one's cider.
Oh, what?
Mine is cider.
Oh, you've gone full West Country.
I have gone West Country. It's quite medicinal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was just thinking though, because you were maxing stuff in reverse on airfields.
So yeah, I was reversing at high speed, but because we were on like a 6-car width airfield, in fact it was more than, it was as wide as this hangar. VMAX in reverse suddenly doesn't feel that scary. If you get a bit of a whip on, you go, I've got loads of width here. I'm sure I could get it back. And it felt just fine. Apart from the fact I did the full length of the strip. It was a long strip.
Yeah.
My back started to hurt after a while.
Were you dad reversing?
I was dad reversing. I had the arm on the thing, and I did that. And I get occasional neck issues anyway. And I just thought, I'm not down with this. So I turned the car at the end of the runway. I thought, I'll come back in reverse again.
Because there's simply no other way of getting back.
So once I'd slipped the clutch and engaged, I tried to drive a different way. So I actually turned my whole body around. and I used the throttle like this and held onto the wheel and did that. I don't know if you could describe that to the listeners. I did that.
I don't think I can. Johnny is is mimicking the time he once faced the wrong way in a car.
Yeah.
What, sorry? Reversed his ring.
I did reverse, yes.
But the thing is, it sounds like you are a prime candidate for a kit car Countach that's based on a Cartina, because you could reverse it like a demon. See, the thing is,
I'd love one. The short answer is find me one, and I will. I'll drive it. I won't buy it. Find me one and I'll drive it.
I don't know. I'd just be fearful that you get such a tank slapper on that eventually it just sort of whips around and you roll over.
That'd be awful.
Shit, the bed. I haven't told you about what happened to me on the way here. I came here in my Range Rover.
You saw a Fiat fullback. Netherlands plates. Let me guess them. Yes, Netherlands plates.
Maybe there's a fullback convention happening somewhere.
Yeah.
Fullbacks of the world, come and join us, all 7 of you. I left Bath/Bath in my Range Rover, and
not breaking down, all fine.
No, it's all fine.
Okay,
made it here, 0 issues.
Okay,
and but I was joining the motorway, the M4. You may have heard of it, and I realised I haven't been out in my Range Rover, and I haven't sort of driven around there, and I for ages, and I've done it in my Panda.
Oh no!
So I got to the traffic lights on that roundabout before you join the motorway. I'm on the inside. There was someone also joining the motorway. I thought, I've got 500 horsepower, sunshine. I'm going to undercut you.
Oh no, someone's going to leave a note. Someone's going to leave a note under the windscreen at the services.
I hit the apex, but
you weren't in a Panda.
Positioning as if I was in a Panda.
Oh gosh.
Now here's a funny thing. Range Rover is a bit wider than the Panda, but it has off-road ability, which is fucking good because I went over the curb.
Did you?
But it's not a proper curb, it's a thing, but I went over it nonetheless, and there was this brief moment where I went, if that was higher, I could have just turned my car over.
I could have buckarooed you.
Yeah. And then I was like, but you know when you sort of plan ahead to what would have happened if that had been the eventuality, I was like, how would I have got to the live show?
What, if you'd rolled your car?
Rolled my Range Rover, and I was like, now you're going to have to wait for someone to go and put it right way up again for ages. So I just have to leave it and get, I don't know, a hire car and just fuck off.
No, you'd do what they do on World Rally stages, and you'd rustle up the crowd nearby.
That was what I also thought.
Wouldn't you?
Because I thought on the one hand I'd be tremendously fucked off that I've kind of probably turned my Range Rover into a bit of a parallelogram, because obviously it's going to...
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it would be quite flair to turn up here in it anyway.
Yeah,
just go, had a bit of an incident on the way.
What, with a roof that's like a Toblerone?
Yeah. Just do, full, exactly, full, like, you know, Yuha, Laka, Maka, Faka, Taka.
Would you have a stranger who you've just met in the passenger seat, sitting out,
sitting on the floor,
operating the one windscreen wiper because you're just going to pretend it was raining a bit, just to make it look a bit more WRC, with the pointy roof?
Done. Anyway, that's not a great story. That's like a friend of mine who once came in and went, I almost fell over out there. That's not a story. That's like...
I don't know. We could have put this on the podcast. Not quite falling over, nearly.
So my car almost fell, but didn't fall over. But yeah, it was one of these. You know, a bit of kind of what could have just happened there, and then it occupied a considerable mileage of the M4. Me working out what I would have done. And I did have the same thought. I thought a crowd of strangers put me back on my wheels, and then through the smashed driver's window, giving them a cheery wave as I crab my way down the M4. But it didn't come to that. But it did remind me that I am a fuckwit and I need to remember which car that I'm driving at any given time.
You must do.
Because in all other respects, a Range Rover feels exactly like a Fiat Panda.
Yeah.
I just wasn't concentrating.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want me to...
I've got a thought about 4D number plates. Apart from the fact that I don't understand what they are, because there's not 4 dimensions.
No.
I don't think. They're often on sporty cars, sports.
Yes.
They affect the aero. If we're going to be really honest about it.
It's true, they probably do.
You've taken off a completely flat surface.
Yes.
And you've changed it with a...
It's catching.
It's catching.
Yeah.
So it's worse aero, possibly slower.
Downforce?
Downforce number plate.
Depends on the letters and numbers, surely.
Yeah.
If your registration was TT55TTT, you got quite a good surface there. I'm going to buy it.
So maybe that's what people are doing.
If your number plate is ooh, The air's just slipping off. Not so good, Professor. You've not thought this through. Let's ask Gordon Murray.
He'd know.
He doesn't put 4D plates on his T50s.
I don't think so.
Because actually T50 would be a sort of mixed bag there if it was on the plates.
Heavier.
It would be heavier.
You're
I think
absolutely
he
right.
automatically registers all his cars 111 III because it's the narrowest that he can do.
But the other thing I've noticed, it's not just aero. I thought about the damage of cleaning cloths.
Will they snag?
It's a cloth snagger,
Yeah.
isn't it? Don't you start. It's an absolute cloth snagger because the people that have those plates are obviously taking pride in their machines,
Yes.
spending money on aftermarket plates.
I saw a brand new E-Class on the motorway, black, so you're assuming private hire.
Yeah.
That's doing the airport runs.
Yeah.
4D plates.
Really?
Yeah. Why? I
don't know.
honestly don't know. I was just like... I'll be
just
honest,
don't know.
The
I don't
latest
know.
E-Class in black is quite an elegant looking car, and I looked at the 4D plates and I looked at the driver and I just thought, you fucked that. It looks a little bit worse because of those stupid plates.
Did
on
you
it.
follow him all the way to Heathrow?
Yeah, and then just kicked him in the head.
Put a little note.
Yes. Yeah.
He's gone for a 4-week holiday. He's not actually a cabbie at all.
No.
He's gone for a 4-week holiday, and you put a little post-it on the.
Do you ever think about cars in which it would be good to commit crimes?
Yeah, quite a lot.
As in, to evade capture. Because if you turned up in a
Yeah.
bright purple Di Tommaso Pantera to turn over a post office,
Well,
everyone would go, it was a bright purple Di Tommaso Pantera. And they'd go, well, now, who in the area owns one of those? Oh, yeah, it's Richard. Not that I do, but,
it's not the basis of Midsummer Murders, that,
Whereas
is it?
if, a kind of off-white Qashqai, old shape.
Well, like the one that left the thing on
Like the one, yeah, similar to that. That
Yeah.
was white, wasn't it? First gen. But even
Yeah,
so, that is just a car.
Yeah.
Did you see how they got away? Yes, it was in a car.
Yes.
You'd be fine.
We've talked about witness protection cars on
Yeah.
previous podcasts.
This is perfect, but I think a black recent E-Class, everyone just goes, he's on the way to Heathrow.
Yeah.
I go, yes, I am, to do over a gold bullion warehouse.
Yes.
And that you'd get away with it, because they just go, well, I think it was one of those... are they,
No, Avensis. Silver Avensis.
Yeah, but they're getting increasingly rare, aren't they? So it only needs someone like the people in this room to go, I think you'll find it was a post-facelift Avensis. And you go, shit! Absolutely
But
fingered
jazz.
it out.
Jazz?
A jazz is good, because they're
Jazz.
everywhere.
Red.
You don't notice how many... No, too strident. That
Okay.
jade green, quite good.
Jade Green Jazz.
Yeah. Yes.
Jade Green Jazz. Well,
Right, now look. I
any
think-
crimes you're looking to do? There was I remember reading quite a detailed report on the favourite cars for drive-by shootings by the Taliban. This was a long time ago now. I'm perhaps dating the conversation somewhat.
Come for the lavatory anecdotes, stay for the Taliban stories.
And the Opel Vectra.
What?
This is all fact. I'm not making this up. The Opel Vectra was the Taliban's favourite car because it had a much bigger sunroof than the other cars, and you could get a full rocket launcher out of it with a man at speed, comfortably, both elbows. Do what you needed to get done. Back in. Classic FM. Back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was out in my Vectra last week. I got the rocket launcher out of the sunroof, fired at a school, and then I got back in. When I parked it, someone left a note on the screen, inconsiderate bastard. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was that. It was exactly that. But in possibly in Arabic. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, on that Taliban note, we should probably wrap this up.
Okay. Okay.
Or we could say something as a kind of palate cleanser, because that was probably a
Well,
little
I was
bit
going to
off
end
palate,
it.
but-
I was going to end it on the size of the baguette that I had the other day.
You sent me a picture of that.
Yeah. I wrote down here, classic car auction jumbo baguette. And that's because I was filming a classic car auction. And at lunch, we had to sort of work through lunch because we were running out of time. And hot day, lovely people at classic car auctions. The chap said, I'll get lunch, you guys carry on. What do you want? I just said, I'm a vegetarian, but something vegetarian. He goes, yeah, there's a great place down the road that does fantastic baps. Laugh if you want to laugh. And He came back 20 minutes later. The largest baguette I've ever seen. I actually thought it was a baguette for all of us that, that was going to get cut up and divvied out by amongst 4 people, 4 adults. It was absolutely massive. I'd say it was that long, and the girth of it was unholy. It was like that. And I had about 10 minutes to eat this before we were going to carry on filming, and I was hungry. And the videographer that I was with, Matty, he joked, he scoffed, and he went, "Fat chance of eating that." I went,
"You just watch me, son."
I went, "Yeah, watch this." And I went behind an Overfinch Range Rover, because that's where we were sitting next to one, and I ate all of it.
What?
Yeah. So when you watch that video, it's been out a little while now, you might notice I'm a little slower. And the second half, and the facts don't come as quick.
I love these.
The lot numbers aren't quite so snappy in that particular video because I'm carrying about 12 kilos of baguette.
Well, you sent me a picture of you holding the baguette.
Yes,
I looked at it initially and I thought you were just holding up your own leg. Like that. It's ridiculous.
I did a photograph next to my forearm for anyone who wanted to compare, just to get an idea of size. Absolutely, I know I haven't got the largest forearm in the world. I know this. But it is a colossally large baguette. But I cleared it.
Good.
That was the end of that story.
Alrighty.
But it was linked to a car auction, so it is car-based. It's allowed on this podcast. I think.
I almost rolled over my car today.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
You told me that.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's time to wrap this up. But before we go, I have 3 things I would like to tell you. The first one is that Johnny has a solo YouTube channel in which he likes to place hard bags of unwanted material onto delicate cloth surfaces in the company of the actor Dirk Benedict, the police dog out of Paw Patrol, and a Swedish band who had a number 1 with All That She Wants in the 90s. That's right. It's to place a case of waste on lace with Face, Chase and Ace of Base show. This week, they're in Doncaster trying to put a Samsonite full of dog shit onto some antimacassars. Well, the keyboard player goes, "Quick, security is coming."
Talking of 18 bands, we have to say, where's Pat? Where are you, Pat?
Pat!
I haven't seen you in ages, Pat.
Explain who Pat is.
I was filming for Fifth Gear, and we were meeting Dirk Benedict, as you do, Face from the A-Team, to compare used S-Class Mercedes with A-Team vans, that real common twin test. And Pat had
was it towards the end of the series when
I think we were running out of ideas.
Yeah.
And Pat had an A-Team van, and Pat met us in central London, and we filmed with Dirk Benedict. And after the shoot, it was a really nice day, and Dirk was so friendly. He was a sweet guy. And he casually said, I don't know if you remember, he invited us round and we were ordering lunch, and he said, do you want a cigar? And I don't even smoke. I'm not really interested. But it was Dirk Benedict from the A-Team offering me the chubbiest of cigars like that. And I just kind of went, yeah.
Did you put it out?
Really? So I started smoking this thing, like trying to be cool, and because I'm with a Face from the A-Team. Feels like, someone's forcing me to smoke. They weren't forcing me. I just felt like I should.
It feels like there was a bit of peer pressure. You didn't want to say, you had to save face.
About an hour later, I must have done about a third of it. I was feeling.
You chucked a whitey and had to go home.
I was feeling as sick as a parrot, but there were too many good stories about Hannibal Smith and Mr. T. I just didn't know what to do with it once it was lit. It was bloody massive.
No, they're a project, aren't they?
They're a massive project. Thanks, Pat. It's good to see you, Pat.
The second thing I have to say is a huge thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. We realise you have a choice of things to do on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
And we are honoured and a little mystified that you've chosen to come here. So thank you ever so much for that. We really do appreciate it. And we want to say a huge thank you to the Little Car Company for hosting and for doing all the organisation that led to this, in particular to Emily and Elsie, who did all of this sorting out, which frankly we were staggered by.
Amazing banners, amazing cars.
The banners from the ceiling and all of this stuff that has dressed this room. So thank you to them.
And to Bicester for letting us come.
And to Bicester Heritage for letting us come here. And to Lisa, who you may have met, who runs our merchandise store and generally kind of kicks us into shape. And, as we've seen during this recording, brings us pints.
I know, many pints.
Unsolicited pints from people. Thank you to the people who bought us pints as well.
Yes.
And the third thing I have to tell you is, collective nouns. Flock of seagulls, school of fish, twat of estate agents, all that kind of stuff. The collective noun for ravens is an unkindness.
Is that untrue?
Yeah, an unkindness of ravens.
Do you know, I pointed at a raven yesterday and I said...
You vicious bastard.
I pointed at a raven yesterday and I said, I like you. And do you know why?
Why?
Because I got woken up by a shitload of pigeons.
Oh, and
everywhere I looked were pigeons that morning, apart from that one raven. And as I walked past, I was like, you're the one that I like. I think I'm going mad. I'm a little worried. Should we end the podcast?
I think it's probably time to end, but thank you ever so much for coming. Thank you for listening at home. We'll do all this again.
Yeah, honestly, thank you so much for everybody in the room and out the room, on our ears. And all that.
Yeah.
And just thanks for support.
Just say goodbye.
Just thanks.
Yeah. Just say
thanks.
goodbye.
Bye. Thank you and bye.
Like and subscribe and review. You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review. You know just what